All right. Well, it is my sincere pleasure to introduce Deja Riley to the Shasta, to the amazing world of Wishbeads, and to hear your personal story, because I think it was one time when I came into Box Union. She's an amazing boxing instructor, by the way.
Thank you.
My dear friend Felicia Alexander and Todd, they created Box Union, which is this unbelievable fitness studio featuring boxing that changes and empowers you. And anyway, I was in the studio and you were like, oh my God, my wish came true.
Yeah.
And I was like, we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
So full disclosure, I have not even heard this story. So you're going to hear it live with me, which is super cool. So thank you, Deja, for
Thanks
coming
for having me.
podcast.
I'm so excited.
Yay. So tell me a little bit. I want to back up a little bit just to set up sort of who you are. You've got this amazing following on Instagram. Your personality is just totally infectious.
Thank you.
You just have this spirit that you just want to be in your air, which is incredible. So tell me a little bit about how you got to where you are right now. I know that's probably could be an hour worth of story.
Good, yeah.
But, you know, a little snapshot. You just shared with me that you were in LA for the last 10 years, but kind of where you've been and what led you to the moment we are sitting in right now.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so I was born in New York, raised in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I started dancing at the age of 3, and then I was classically trained in ballet, jazz, tap, lyrical, flamenco, a little bit of hip hop. I kind of like dabbled in every style of dance, everything except for ballroom. But I loved dance. I was always very passionate about performing. My parents had me in everything from singing lessons to theater group. I wasn't very much so a sports or active child, but I was athletic because I was in dance.
Sure.
So I was raised doing that and trained in that like all of my life. I became a competitive dancer at the age of 12. And then I competed all the way through high school until I graduated at the age of 18. And then usually competitive dancers do one of two things: move to New York for more of like the Broadway scene, the theater scene, or move to LA for more of the commercial scene. And I definitely knew that I was like meant to be in front of the camera and on big stages traveling the world. So I moved to LA. At first, it was kind of a premature choice. I came out here to like visit some family friends and to see what it would be like to like just kind of take on LA. I had only visited maybe twice in my lifetime for very short periods of time, but just to see my dad while he was out here working. My dad's in the music industry, so he's been doing that all my life. Yeah, so he's an entertainer and has been since I can remember. He started his career at the age of 15, so he was really young when he started too. Yeah, and so I came out here on my own to visit some family friends, and I had an audition that my mom was like, oh yeah, you know, just try it out, see what the audition scene is like, and it was for Laker girls. And I actually made the cut.
Oh my God.
And my mom was shocked. She was like, I mean, she was really excited for me. She knew I had the talent, but at the age of 18, like she could not imagine her baby girl like dancing for a major sports team.
So did you become a Laker girl?
I did, but
What?
Here's the story. So I only was a Laker girl for 3 months. And that was because I kind of just got wound up in the wrong like crowds and like hanging out with the wrong people. And my mom like gave me the option of either coming home and like trying to get life in order. I was raised in the church, and so my mom had very strict beliefs and morals and like raised us on very strong values about life. And so she was just like, you know, you can come home and like get things in order and live at home for like another year or two, maybe like enroll in community college or something, and then go back out to LA and see how you like it. Or you can have the option of just doing rehearsals and practices and games and coming home, but I'd have to live with like a family friend of their choice. So I wasn't allowed to get my own place, and they like really didn't want me going out and partying and like, you know, the Hollywood scene. That's kind of like,
I do know the Hollywood scene, and I gotta like say like good on your mama.
Oh yeah,
because it's I know that scene very well, and yeah, I think that at 18 it's like woo, and you could find yourself in a bad situation real fast.
Yeah,
real
that's
fast.
exactly what happened, and you know, not a terrible whole situation, but just this thing where like my mom was being a protective mom, and at the time I didn't really understand. Thanked her years later and very happy that she reeled me in and had me come home. So I stayed back at home, which was now Atlanta because my parents had moved to Atlanta. I stayed at home for about a year and a half and then moved back out to LA, and I've been here ever since.
Nice.
So so I started my commercial dance career out here. Over the past 10 years, I've danced for artists like Beyonce, Katy Perry, Shakira, Nicki Minaj, Trey Songz, Britney Spears.
Just a few people you might have heard of. Just a handful.
Yeah, and then I've been on shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I've done some industrials with companies like Reebok. I've shot for Under Armour. I've done some pretty exciting stuff.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, so I've really enjoyed my commercial dance career, and it kind of just led me into fitness. I've always been one that loves to work out outside of dancing and rehearsing and traveling. So I found myself in like the fitness like web and just like meeting all these different people in fitness. And then I wanted to transition out of dance about 2 years ago and try something new. I had danced for every artist that I wanted to dance for and done some TV and some film work. And I just was thinking about having something more sustainable for adulthood. I wanted to get married and have kids, and the dance life is a little bit unstable in that way where you're constantly on the go and you kind of just need to be ready for anything. You could get called for an audition today and then book the job and start rehearsing tomorrow. So I just wanted something that provided a little bit more stability for me to build like a firm foundation for a family. So then I decided to transition out of my dance career, and it landed me at Box Union. So I know I'm a fitness trainer there, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and you're so dynamic. The other element that I love that it just transcends the actual boxing, which you typically think of as very male in so many ways and kind of like, you know, and I take karate. So believe me, I'm totally resonate with this idea of training yourself in a way that is punching. You know, and I used to say like, I don't punch people, and I have a funny story about when I wanted to take karate, I actually asked my sensei, in order to get your black belt, because I don't do anything, like if I'm just not going to like do it for the, you know, to the black belt. So I said, to get my black
Go
belt.
all the way.
Yeah, exactly. I said, to get my black belt, do I actually have to spar with people? This is how naive I was. And he goes, no. I said, I could just do the katas, you know, these beautiful kind of solo orchestrated, really intense series of movements. And he's like, no, you can test with just your kata. And I'm like, perfect, sign me up.
I'll do it.
Okay, so we're training, and in our dojo you have to train and you have to pass just to get your white belt. Everything is earned. And as we're leading up to my white belt test, like we're totally sparring with each other. And I went back to him 6 months in. I'm like, sensei, remember that part about where I said, well, you don't have to spar for your black belt, you know, for your test? And he's like, yeah, that's not true. I'm like, what?
But that's what you told me.
Exactly. But he said, had I told you the truth, you wouldn't have started.
Yeah.
Which is true. Interesting Jedi, like sensei move.
Yeah.
But what I love about my own experience with practicing a martial art and with taking Box Union classes is this idea that it is so much more. It's about the inner work that happens.
Yeah.
And your energy and your message. I would love for you to talk about that a little bit, about this sort of light that you naturally exude, but the sort of beautiful encouragement and inspiration that you offer your classes and your community. And I'm assuming your friends and followers, but where do you find inspiration for that? How do you connect with that so that you're able to share it with others?
Yeah. I mean, I find inspiration in a variety of ways. I usually get it from people, like people that I connect with, people that I follow, my family, my friends. They teach me things every day. And I find that like oftentimes their stories can help motivate other people. And sometimes my story can add to a bit of that. For classes, I prepare by like creating a playlist, but usually that playlist is inspired by some sort of quote or some sort of motivational message. And I kind of tailor my playlist around that. So like the messaging and the music that I play often comes from some sort of theme. So for example, yesterday I was doing this thing about be vulnerable. And it was because the night before I was just having my womanly meltdown. And I was crying and talking to my fiance and just like, telling him that life gets tough sometimes. Like, I'm not a perfect person and like everything's not always easy. And I was just having a really tough time we do long distance. So my fiance lives in Vegas and I live here. So it's not extremely far, but it is long distance. Right.
Yep.
It's far enough that I can't like see him every single day. So I was just telling him like I was just having a tough time because I went to dinner and I was by myself and I thought about it and I was like, well, I like to do a lot of things by myself, but sometimes I just want to have dinner with you randomly, And so like I just was like a little upset about it. And I had a moment where like I was just being completely vulnerable and open with him. And I find that I can do that a lot with him, but not necessarily with other people. I'm oftentimes trying to like protect those, I guess, like darker feelings from other people because I do have such an uplifting attitude.
Yeah.
So like my challenge for myself was to try to bring that into a class without making it like gloomy or sad or upsetting, but more uplifting. So my message on the mirror was be vulnerable. And like all of the songs that I played were like all songs that like in a way made me feel like I had other people around me. So a lot of it was like my favorite groups, like some of the groups that I used to listen to with my sisters, and we'd like make up funny dances in the living room, and like so it reminded me of them. And then I played a song that my little brother loves. We went and saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles together, and there's this song called Shell Shocked that he like loves, and it's like knock knock, you're about to get shell shocked. And honestly, it's a really good song to box to, even though it's my 6-year-old brother's favorite song. I was like, I mean, this is kind of appropriate. And then it just made me think of him. And like, so my whole playlist was about that. But as I talked through it, I was just giving them little pieces of myself. And it was just all about me being vulnerable and like that can be beautiful. And it's not, vulnerability is not a weakness.
Yeah.
And so often we're kind of told that by society that like, if you cry, if you're sad, if you have angry feelings, like all of those things are not supposed to be exposed.
Well, they're not Instagrammable.
Usually, or like I find that like oftentimes it can be like a weird standard that like boys are not supposed to cry and get, emotional. And for girls, like we're not supposed to be tough or like powerful. So it like, and that kind of speaks to the tween workshop that we were working together on. Right. It's like oftentimes those standards are created and we find that we can't cross that line of vulnerability because what we've been told by society is appropriate for our gender.
Sure.
So, I just kind of like exposed myself in class yesterday, but I really enjoyed it.
That's so good. And did you feel that sense of a relief?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's my release in class and I can help other people to that. I mean, like one of my friends, Jenna, walked up to me after class. I call them my friends, but they're like my students in class. And like,
and they're your friends.
Yeah. And I build friendships with them every day. But she came up to me and she goes, that was just what I needed. And I was like, this is why I do what I do, So, yeah. So
and what I love about that story, too, is this idea of intention meeting action.
Yeah.
It's really like you have a discovery, and we're all, it doesn't matter what age we are, this life is about self-discovery, right? I mean, I know that my 97-year-old grandmother is still discovering things, What's it like to age in advanced years?
Yeah.
And so this idea of self-discovery, it puts you in this really humble place, but very curious place.
Yeah.
So even the reflection of saying, wow, I'm really feeling vulnerable feelings. I'm feeling my feelings. And then what can I do to turn this and give back? That's why I feel like your teaching is so giving. Yeah. It's naturally giving. So, and why I especially love this story is because of this awareness, intention, and action is really what Wishbeads is all about. Yeah. So I can't wait. I want to hear your own Wishbeads story. Oh, yeah. And you've done the ready to wear.
Yeah, that's bracelet. What I have on now. Okay. And I'm still wearing it. It has a new wish in it. Ooh. Because I took the last wish out because it came true. Should I start from the beginning?
Yeah, totally. And share whatever you want to share. I mean, I literally have no idea what this is about.
Oh, I'm going to be like so open and honest. Just because actually Wishbeads brought me to a place of honesty. I think oftentimes like I find myself to be a generally honest person, but sometimes we just like keep things from ourselves, or we keep ourselves from opening up to certain things. So for me, well, Felicia gave me these beads, so I was very excited about her giving me this gift. And she kind of explained it to me, and then she said, well, just open them, and then you'll get connected on the link, and it'll send you emails every day, like giving you these,
Wishwork.
yes, the Wishwork, giving you exercises to do, and like sort of like a journal entry. And I was like, okay, that could be fun. Cool.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was like, that could be really awesome. So I opened them up, and first of all, I'm very, very simple. I don't really wear a lot of jewelry. I literally have on my engagement ring, like the necklace that my fiance bought me, which is a cross, and like my simple studs. And that's all I wear. I don't really like a lot of jewelry on me. I'm very simple with my clothing. So like when I saw they were black, I was like, yes, I can wear them with everything. And then I took them out, and I started to read the directions, and I quickly connected online and started getting these emails from you that felt very personalized. So I really loved that. I felt like you were writing directly to me, and I was like, okay,
Ooh, I love that.
I can do that, Alexa.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally talking to you.
And you know what's really weird? So right now I did another Wishbeads, and I restarted my own 21-day Wishwork with the wish that I did.
Yeah.
And I literally start my day with emails from me,
yourself.
like virtual Alexa. And it's so funny because of Alexa.
I know.
Amazon Alexa, total nightmare for me, by the way. I have like all this, like, yes, can I help you? Anyway, so I can do a whole bit on that. But it is very funny because even though I wrote them a while ago.
Yeah.
So I'm getting these like surprise, like today my message was about breathing. And so I read my message in the morning, and I was like,
yeah.
Anyway, so it's very funny. So yes, I'm glad it resonated with you.
Yeah,
Good.
no, it did. So anyways, I'm on this journey, and then I specifically remember one of the toughest days of wish work for me was telling other people my wish. So first I have to tell you what my wish was, so I can explain to you why it was very difficult for me.
Okay.
So my wish was to make 6 figures. My entire career, my entire dance career, I had like a 5-figure sort of salary that kind of fluctuated, but never quite got to 6 figures. Mm-hmm. And for me, I was like, well, I'm in my late 20s. I feel like I should be there already, but maybe there's a reason why I'm not, you know?
Or that you maybe just want to be there. Like, why not?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I have tiptoed around financial talk my entire life.
Wow.
It was something that my parents didn't really talk about very much with us and didn't really teach us a lot about. So it was a very like shaky subject for me. Like I always wanted to like protect the numbers in my bank account. Like I never wanted to talk about them with anyone.
Wow.
I never used to like to talk about credit, anything surrounding money. I just didn't want to talk about it. And like if people would ever ask me questions, that would be the moment that I would kind of like close off a little or put up a wall, just because I just never felt comfortable with talking about finances.
Yeah. And I think actually a lot of people are that way. A lot of people. There's the hot button topics.
Yeah, that's a hot button one for me. Yeah. So my fiance knows this about me, and it took me a while to kind of open up to him about some things that, you know, had occurred in my past. And so I first shared the wish with him.
Mm-hmm. So that on was that like, day, the Wishwork day.
Yes, on the Wishwork day, I shared it with him, and I was like, well, that was too easy. And I was like, I think I have to tell someone else. Like, I need to tell someone else. I'm like, that was just too easy. I'm all about taking risks and just going for it. I was like, I just felt like I just told him about it, but it was just like normal talk because I've already shared that part of myself with him. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm going to tell a couple of other people. So I told a stranger while I was out. Yeah. That was really hard because I was like, how do you go from like your fiance
to a stranger? Tell me, like, let's unpack that a little bit.
So
what happened?
I was like out at a coffee shop. And I think that might have been one of your suggestions was like, tell a stranger. Yeah. And I was like, and I was talking to the person already, and I was like waiting for my coffee, you know, typical Starbucks, like I do it all the time. So I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to tell them my wish. And like we just kind of got into conversation. I just eased into it, and I was like, yeah. And I have this thing called Wishbeads, and like, you know, I'm wearing it now, and I got a wish like I had a wish and I put it in there and I got like this Wishwork exercise to do today. So you know what? I'm just going to do it. And then I just told the person, they're like, oh, that's great. And it was just kind of like you don't know how big of a deal that was for me, but I got it out and I was so excited. And then I needed to tell someone that I know but doesn't know anything about my finances, which is pretty much everyone I know.
Yeah.
And so then I told my roommate. And that one was difficult too, because it was like, oh, you know a little bit about me. Like you probably know all the surface details, all the things I'm comfortable with sharing. But I ended up very recently also telling my roommate what my credit score was. And like, I was so shocked when it came out of my mouth. I was like, did I just tell her what my, I'm like, I've never told anyone, not my sisters, my mom, my dad, no one.
Wow.
And like the only other person that knew was my fiance, because he's been like working with me on saving and like trying to get all my finances in order. And we're like hopefully going to buy a house soon. Part of my new wish.
Yeah.
So that was like the most difficult Wishwork day for me.
Wow.
But this art of manifestation has just like become part of my lifestyle. And I love it. I even like watch the words that I say all the time, or like what I'm putting out into the universe. And like even when I was like, I got sick at the beginning of the year and I was like, I think I just like don't want to say that I'm like sick, you know, like, or I don't want to say that how bad I really feel. So I like was practicing in my mind, like, okay, I'm going to be on my feet to teach in a day. It's going to be fine. I'm going to
positive.
Yes.
Yep.
And like just really like pressing upon the positive parts of it. But I feel like it helped with me getting better a lot sooner.
Absolutely.
And I literally only had to take off one day from work and I was back the next day.
Amazing.
It was great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So once you shared your wish,
Yeah.
you immediately felt, so describe the way that it shifted your feelings. Like what was the change for you, even just from saying it?
Yeah, I think I eliminated a fear, because my fear is always that someone would judge me or someone would make assumptions about me because of where I stand with my finances. But one, I've gotten a lot more comfortable just in my own skin in the past few years. Mm-hmm. So there's really not a lot about myself that I'm not willing to share. It's just all about people asking. And I feel like when that question would always, like, whenever it would arise, I would just kind of feel this, like, nervous feeling of, like, oh, that's not something I'm, like, willing to share. Of all the things that you could ask me about, that's probably not one of them. And I would just shy away from the topic or talk around it, find a way to, like, exit the conversation. But now I'm like, you know what? When I face my fears head on and I just, like, tackle them, they go away.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
So it's like,
just even saying them.
Yeah. So I'm like, if it's that easy to make a fear go away, then I'm going to do it. Yeah. And like, that's what actually this year has been all about for me, is like everything that I said I couldn't do, everything that I said I was afraid of, I'm doing it.
Oh my God,
so I started
awesome.
with 30 days of being vegan.
Oh, wow.
Because I always told my vegan friends, I was like, oh, I could never do that. I was like, I love chicken. I'm like, I love chicken. I love cheese. Like, I could never do that.
Yeah.
So my 30th birthday, that weekend, I just kind of like had my last hoorah, like ate all the things that I really love. And then the day that I got back, I started 30 Days of Vegan, and now I'm on my third week.
Wow.
Yeah. And it gets easier. It really does.
That's
like,
amazing.
It was really tough the very first week, probably the first week and a half. It was really challenging just to try to find other ways to get the nutrients that I needed.
Sure. You're very physical.
Yeah. And I was like always hungry. Mm-hmm. But I'm finding that is kind of like fading away, and I just like don't focus on like wanting those foods that I did want before. And I feel like better, like lighter and like more energetic.
And what I love too about this is this idea of changing your story. So your own narrative, this sort of invisible way that we talk about ourselves, we think about ourselves. Like, I'm not someone who, and I was telling you earlier before we started about me signing up for the Spartan race. Yeah. I was like, I'm not someone who does that. I don't work out on a regular basis. Yeah. And then you catch yourself in the moment, you think, wait a minute, I am writing the story of my life. Yeah. I get to decide, and I can make 6 figures or 7 figures or I get to decide who I am in the world. And that is an ever evolving story that can be rewritten at any time.
Totally.
And when you realize that you have that power, you start to play with it. And that's what I love, the spirit of how you're doing Wishbeads in a very playful way. It's a game.
Yeah, it is
a game.
And we should always play. I mean, I feel like, you know, when we're younger, we're so carefree and so innocent. And like, we play all the time. That's all we do is play. Yeah. But as we get older, we start to eliminate that aspect of our life. Yeah. And I just think it's so important as an adult to like have that in your life. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
I totally do get to play. It is like a game. It's very fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, you told me that your wish came true.
Yes, it
so
did.
Did we have a 6-figure year? Is that what I'm assuming?
So this year, like once I like added up the salary that I'm making between the two main sources of income that I have, it's beyond just like that 6-figure mark. So I'm
so
in the
proud
sixes.
of you.
Thank you. And I don't feel
amazing.
like I don't feel nervous saying that either. Like normally that would not have been something that like I would like announce and like be so open about.
Yeah. And guess that you just shared it with all these strangers.
I did. You guys all know something about me now.
But it's awesome when you really start to go, you know, why not me?
Yeah.
Why not me?
Yeah.
And it works like this vortex, like it literally comes at you in ways. And suddenly you start to find that awareness where you're shrinking just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And I think that so many people were never taught the financial conversation. We're never taught, especially as women, I got to say, how do we negotiate for what we're worth? How do we ask for what we're worth? How do we share our rates without squirming a little bit or shrinking a little bit? How do we show up when we meet with our accountants and it's funny because it's so small and so many people are hiding, men and women, about lots of different things.
Yeah.
But if you can let go of that narrative that just says, I don't want anyone to know this about me.
I know.
I'm holding the shame or whatever of my past. Forget about that.
Yeah.
You are a fresh, beautiful, unique you in every moment. And suddenly you go, wow, what if?
Yeah.
Like, what if?
Yeah.
And so when I manifest and when I see and I'm so visioning the impact that I want Wishbeads to have in the world, and I get little tingles even when I say that. It's true. I'm tingling right now.
Yes.
I start to say, well, what if, you know, I'm sitting in front of Oprah and we're talking about this? What if I were to host that big virtual Wish Circle where 1 million people are tuning in to Wish?
Yeah.
What would happen then?
Yeah.
And then what happened next? And the way that manifestation works is that you're not efforting here. You're leveraging with all of the magnificence of this divine creation, which is life, which is aligning for you to win. Yeah. To win. And I think that specificity is part of that key. Yeah. You want 6 figures. Boom. You had 6 figures.
Yeah.
You know?
Was it felt like instant. Like I was doing the work and then like within the work, it was like before like it was even over, I was already there. And I was like, wait, this is really awesome. Like I need to do another one. But I kept it in my bracelet for a second. Like I kept it in through the beginning of the year. And then I just put a new wish in there recently.
Yay. So I have to ask you another little personal question because someone just asked me this and I just shot a video about this, which is, what did you do with the wish paper from the first magical wish? Did you put it in a separate place? Did you do something?
It's in my bathroom on my sink just because I go in my bathroom multiple times a day and that's where I write my affirmations on my mirror. Perfect. So it's literally just sitting next to my candle. Yay. It's like right there just resting.
Resting to be like, done.
Yep. I think as I start to manifest more things and like put them in on my little wish paper, I will save them and maybe like have like a little box that I can put on my nightstand or something like that. But I'm creating new products all the time. And people that I'm working with in this business are like, oh my gosh, Alexa, slow down. But I can't help it because it's so fun. So I have a little box that I'm noodling on designing so that I can have a then
little
I'll have to have that too.
But yeah, I think, it is pretty awesome. Right where next to my bed, I have a special place. And for my wishes that have come true, they're right there. And it's that visual reminder. And it reminds you of how powerful you are to create it. The wish beads is just a way to capture your attention. So you stay focused on what you want. And you kind of, tap into that magic. But I'm so happy for you.
I know. Thank you.
I'm so happy for you. And I believe that when you show up in that empowered, lighter, playful space, especially as a teacher, I mean, that's what you're boxing. But you're doing so much more than that, in my opinion.
Thank you.
You know, when you show up in that energy and that light and that love, you are literally helping ignite that in other people.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't know what's happening. They may think it's your words and your playlist. And I believe that it's your energy. It's who you are showing up in your light. And people are like, oh, I get to bask in that for whatever, 50 minutes or whatever that awesome class is.
Yeah.
It's so great.
It is. I love it.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank
this is
you
such
so
an honor.
much. Thank
and
you.
so I will have you back because you've got another one that you're working on.
Yes, I do. Oh, this
You're
one
welcome
it's like a double wish.
Okay.
Because I put 2 wishes on one.
Nice. I know. I've
piece
had
of
people
paper.
try to jam 5 papers in their thing, and I'm like, slow down. Slow it down. I don't think it could fit.
I know, but I was so excited about the first one that I was like, oh my gosh, these are 2 big wishes. They can happen at the same time.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it up to you and put you on the spot a little bit. Do you want to share them?
How does that work? I'll ask you, how does that work? Because I did have to share it when doing Wishwork.
Yeah.
So if I share it, does that change like the outcome of the wish?
Hey, okay, so people ask me this as if like I'm the inventor of, I mean, I know I am creating this, right? But I also feel like I am a little bit making this up as I go along. Because there's no like.
So what are your personal thoughts of it?
So here's my thing. I'm a big believer in asking, so you shall receive.
Okay.
Ask and you shall receive. These are principles that I've learned from other great thought leaders like Abraham Hicks and another woman that I follow that has a whole program called Ask and Receive called Sandy Radomski, which I think is really cool. And I believe that it's true that when you start asking or sharing or giving it voice, you are helping bring it from the intangible to the tangible. And that's really what Wishbeads is about.
Yeah.
So one, I'm a fan of saying it and sharing it. And it is not about having the other person get it because, oh my goodness, I have shared my visions with people for a long time as an entrepreneur. That's just the deal, right?
Yeah.
Most people are like, what are you talking about? You all also may seem audacious to be like, oh, right, you're going to be sitting with Oprah underneath those trees in her property in Santa Barbara.
You're going to laugh now. You're going to laugh when you hear this.
Actually, yeah, I am.
Because you definitely are. That's definitely happening for you. But my wish is that Oprah would come take my box union class. And then my other wish is that I get to purchase my first home.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
We're doing it.
Yeah, we're
doing
going to
it.
do
We're
that.
doing it.
We're going to do that. And I got the tingles again, which is
Good.
psychic sign for like,
It's happening.
Yeah, because why not?
Yeah.
Why not? And so you saying it, and I'll add another layer. So this is part of also, I don't put it in the Wishwork. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll make a video about it. Maybe we'll talk about it right now.
Yeah.
But the idea of Wishbeads is a visual reminder. But before I put mine on for the day, and I don't sleep with them, but I have them in a special box, I tighten them in the morning, which connects my intention. It also just makes sure that it doesn't fall off.
Yeah.
But in my meditation, I really see and feel and allow the details of that moment. I reconnect to it. So this wish bead bracelet, this one right here, is my intention to have 1 million people wishing at one time. 1 million, because I believe in the power of collective consciousness.
Yeah.
So if we are overwhelmed by the state of the world, by gun violence, by the wars that are raging that will seem to have no end, by a changing climate that seems so out of our ability to change, I believe through the power of this collective consciousness about energy, quantum energy, that when we can come together and wish at one time, I think there's some magic stuff going to happen.
I know there is. Yeah.
And so every day when I put this one on in particular, this is my most, mojo, it's a lot of mojo you need for 1 million wishes or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I see that. So I have this vision where India Ari is going to sing her song, I Am Light. I picture the stage. I picture what I'm wearing. I can see people behind me, not all their faces yet. But as I imagine this moment, I'm literally bringing it in. And I talk to people all the time about this wish.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, guess what? no one's going to know.
Yeah.
And it's this little private thing. Like, and then I think, well, what if it doesn't come true? Then what?
I think that's usually people's biggest fear when they put those things out into the universe and out to other people.
Right.
It's like, well, what if I told them that and then like it doesn't happen?
Yeah.
But then it's like, but what if you told them that and it does? Because that's like really what my thought process is. It's like, wait, what if I told them that and then it does happen?
And then
we can celebrate together. Like, that would be incredible.
And then you will encourage them that their wishes can come true.
Yeah.
Which is really the whole purpose of this podcast.
Yeah.
Is that I've been so busy, which is an understatement, creating this thing and figuring out manufacturing and distribution, all that I was forgetting, not making enough space to actually capture people's stories. Because really it's not because of the stories that I share, because someone can say, well, you're the one who made it. Like, of course you're going to say it works.
Yeah.
But it's all the stories that people say to me, and I have to capture those stories and let your story inspire somebody else who wants to have the courage to say their wish or go after and fix their money story or improve their money story. And it's in that sharing that we go, wow. And also in the power of reframing. And I'll share with you one little kind of confession that as I was morphing my career. So I was a professional actress. And when I graduated, everyone is like, oh, Alexa, I got signed with great agents and they're like, oh, you're going to be like the next Meryl Streep and all this stuff. Yeah. And then I found myself doing TV and doing the LA thing and then became the awareness of, my God, this is not enough for me. Like I'm on set for hours and I'm bored. And I don't feel like when people tell me, so what do you do? And I would say, I'm an actress. I would like find myself like shrinking a little bit because I was like, I wasn't really like all the actresses I saw. And I knew that I wanted more. Yeah. And this was my dirty little secret. And I don't know if you know my real story about my aha moment, but it really came on the moment of when I was playing a character on the TV show Bones. Oh yeah. And I was laying on the dirty floor of the LA Times building where we were shooting, and we were like 14 hours into the shoot, and I had fake blood coming out of my mouth, and I'm laying there, and you can see this on TV. Like there's an actual moment.
I'm gonna go look at it.
I'll include a picture of it. It's really funny. So it's me laying there with this fake blood, and I had this crisis going, what have I done with my life? Like what a massive waste of energy and time. And I'm doing what I said I wanted to do. Yeah. It's going well, and I'm dying inside. Because this is not it. And I have invested so much. What am I doing?
What a vivid visual.
Oh yeah. And I've got proof. Because you can see the TV show. Yeah. And in that moment, I literally made a prayer. And I was like, give me a sign. Because this is not, what am I doing? Yeah. Like, what am I doing? And 2 days later, my friend Tamara called me up. And I had met her on set a few years earlier. And she was helping women now with a new business of hers, and she needed a media trainer. Mm-hmm. And she thought of me. And so she called me up. And when she told me about this opportunity, she had a high profile client who needed a media trainer. I was like, yes, and again, yes. Like, yes, let me use my skills as a performer and as a person to help people ignite that light inside of them, become authentic, confident communicators. Yeah. And I can do something. I can help people, which is really what has always been part of my life's work. And yet, this is getting back to this idea of how we tell our stories. For many years, I had to then tell my agents as my other job, my new career, my new consulting career and speaking and teaching was sort of getting busier. I was less available for TV gigs and commercial stuff. And my agents looked at me like I was crazy. What are you doing? Like, this is your profession. And I said, but I'm creating this thing and I have this vision over here. Don't you see it? They didn't see it. Yeah. They did not see it. Yeah. And I was also saying, oh my gosh, if I do this other thing, will I look like a failed actress? I'm too old.
I love this story. I will tell you why as soon as you're...
Yeah, but that was a nutshell. Yeah. And then I thought, no. The fact that I was an actress for a decade, and then I was teaching and running my own business that I created out of scratch, and suddenly I'm working for like Sony and Trader Joe's, and I'm doing speaking engagements, and I teach students all over the world. I created that. And that's why the moment in the shower when the entire idea of Wishbeads came downloaded, it is because of the experiences that I had. Yeah. Nothing was wasted. Nothing is not a win in this, even the tough stuff. all of it is the fabric of my life, which put me perfectly poised to launch an entire business virtually on my own.
I love that.
So yes. So
thank you for telling me that story, because it's so inspiring, because I feel like I'm at a very similar crossroads. I mean, I was a dancer for a decade, and my biggest worry from transitioning from dance was, is everybody going to think I just was a failed dancer or I just gave up? Yeah. I'm like, but I did it for a decade and I did everything I wanted to do within it. So it left me fulfilled, but it also left me with the thought of like, what's everybody else gonna think? And now I've just like transitioned into fitness, which again, my agents are being very kind. Like I have the best agencies on the planet, but I'm also not really showing up for them and like not going to these auditions anymore and not even taking direct booked work. And so like that's been a choice of mine. Yep. So at the same time, I'm thinking like, do they think I'm like super nutty for just jumping on the bandwagon of this startup business that like I had never boxed before? I like got with them, like really boxed, like put on boxing gloves and like actually hit mitts and things like that. Never before. And like I was into fitness, but like now I'm like indulged, like I'm deep into it. Yeah. And like same thing, you know, all these things have opened up for me. All these doors have opened up for me. I've worked with Reebok. I'm now signed to Puma. I've like worked with Schwinn bikes. I'm like working with them now. And I've worked for Under Armour, like all of these different companies. Yeah. And like it's happened like kind of fast track in a year's time.
Amazing. And you're getting to be, I mean, this is so funny. This is so parallel to me.
Yeah.
You get to be you.
Yeah.
And you're not just Beyonce's dancer or such and such dancer or a dancer in the back or whatever. And in the same way that like I really love acting, and I'm actually going to work on a movie that my brother-in-law wrote. But so it's there, and you will always be able to dance because it's who you are. Yeah. And you will get opportunities. But now you're creating things on your terms. Yeah. And that's exactly what I told my agents. Yeah. And I was like, listen, I am showing up in the world as me. Yeah. And I was once doing a part on The Unit. And that was a TV show that was written by and created by David Mamet, who's a big, he's a big playwright predominantly, but it's also, he's done a filmmaker. And this was his first foray into television, I think. But was so funny when we were working together. So he actually wrote me a part. And I was a CIA agent, which was so fun. Yeah. And we were reviewing a script, and it's David Mamet. He's like known as a prolific writer. But I was looking at the script, and I was like, I don't think my character would say it that way. I think I would do it like that. And he looked at me like with an eye cocked, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, you a writer now? And I thought to myself, and I didn't say just to myself, I said to him, I was like, well, kinda, yeah. I mean, if you want my opinion, I'm not saying I'll say it however way you want to say it. But it was such an affirmation that I knew that inside of me, my message and the way that I deliver things, that's part of actually my gift and my thing. Yeah. So whether I'm teaching about Wishbeads or I'm teaching people how to be confident communicators or I'm even playing a character, there's like a lot of Alexa energy that's happening in that. Totally. And so I think my agents, it might be 20 years from now, if they care to see what I'm doing, although I think they're watching what I'm doing, that story will actually make sense in time. Yeah. Yeah. But I will tell you, from someone who did that exact move, it's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome to do it on your terms.
Oh, I love it.
It's awesome.
I love it. And just like, I grew up being a very, I was always a very dynamic character. And, the funny thing is the dance world, or the dance industry really, like kind of made me go into this teeny tiny shell. And I was so insecure and like so not myself in a sense. Like my mom said since she can remember, like I was always like very outspoken, always talking to people, like just very friendly, inviting. And the funny thing about my dance career is I always felt like I needed to zip my lips. Like I never felt like I could speak out, especially, with anybody that was, higher than me in the chain of command. I just never felt like I could give my opinion when I'm such an opinionated person. And like, I felt like my colors were fading. That's like the best way that I could describe it. And so, now I'm allowed to be this live out loud, colorful character by choice. And like, I love that. I'm totally embracing that. And
That's awesome.
I couldn't go back.
No. Well, and also, I mean, you're privileged to be, you've had the experience of being inside the entertainment industry as I have.
Yeah.
And I think that there is so much insecurity in that industry that it permeates in those thoughts that other people are thinking. We're sponges, so we pick that up.
Yeah.
And there's so much competition and backstabbing, and it's so confusing.
Yeah.
And those years that you were there, I'm sure that, you're trying to navigate that and be respectful of the chain of command.
Yeah.
And everyone is very clear. Oh, I have so many things about this. We'll talk about it later. But
we should, yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting. And I think that if you choose, it's dancing. You'll always be a magnificent dancer. I guarantee you. And when I do, wait a minute. I'm going to announce this right now. When I do that virtual 1 million wish circle thing, will you
I will
you
be
dance?
there, and I will definitely be dancing.
Yes!
I promise you that.
I'm going to have you up on stage
I would
dancing.
love that. I would love that.
Okay, so we're going to do that.
We're doing
That's
it.
happening.
Yep.
Okay, we know Oprah will be there too.
Oh, of course.
So, but I think that is so, when you have that awareness of where your colors are fading or where you feel like you're acting small, feeling small, that's such a beautiful place to really get real curious about where you can shift.
Yeah.
You don't have to necessarily, if you're not ready to reinvent, you can just shift a little bit.
Yeah.
That's where you can activate it with Wishbeads.
Definitely.
Deja.
Yeah.
Okay, this podcast is so epic. I'm not even going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm having so much energy.
I can't wait to listen back and hear all of the things I said, because it was just free flying. I'm whatever comes to mind.
It's
I
beautiful.
didn't prepare anything to say, but your questions led me perfectly into everything I wanted to say. So,
well, I've learned so much. I adore you. I adored you before. Come on. Who can't adore you? Because you're awesome.
Thank you.
Tell me where you want people to find you in case they want to follow you, or just share your Instagram or whatever.
Well, yeah, on Instagram, you can find me at Deja Riley, DejaRiley. I also have DejaRiley.com, which I'm trying to get in the habit of constantly updating, but you can always find everything that I'm doing on Instagram. I do tweet, so it's the same handle at Deja Riley and I have Facebook.
Yay.
Yeah.
Go find her. You want more? Go find
her.
her. And if you are fortunate enough to be in the Santa Monica area and West Hollywood eventually, find Deja's class at Box Union. And I will put an address or, all the information about Box Union, because to be in your presence and to be led by you is a super, super gift.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Ciao. Awesome.
That was awesome. I love it.